Hey everyone, Patrick Spielman, founder of Uptics here. And in this video, I'm going to go through the best ways to generate B2B leads for your business. So prior to founding Uptics, which is a sales automation platform to help automate your sales process and outreach, I actually owned an outbound prospecting lead generation business where we provided services to other businesses to drive leads, book them appointments on their calendar so that they could close more sales. And so this video, I'm going to focus on really the top ways especially if you're bootstrapped and you've got a limited budget and stuff like that. I'm going to talk to you about the best ways, but I'm going to go through some other ways as well. By no means is this going to be an all-encompassing list, but I'm going to talk to you about, the different ways and methods to do that in other videos, and you can check out some more of our training. And if you like this training and want to get more, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to get alerted on new training that we launch. So in subsequent training, we have other in-depth methods to this. This is going to focus just on really the high level stuff. So let's get into it. First, starting with outbound prospecting. If you don't know what outbound prospecting is, hopefully you do, but if you don't, it's basically a method of just going out and getting basically businesses interested in your product or service. So you could do that through many different ways. You could do it through, making cold calls, picking up the phone, actually calling your prospect. You could do it through text messaging. If you have a list of leads or people that have submitted information on your website or wherever you got the lead list, you can do it through text message. You can do social prospecting. This is a good one, especially with B2B businesses with LinkedIn. So social prospecting, is just going out and finding, people that you think are interested in your product or service and, just trying to book a meeting with them. So you can do that through LinkedIn, through Facebook, through Instagram, really all the different social channels, but there are ways to automate this. And then of course, there's always email, cold email, warm email, hot email, and all of these pieces of the outbound prospecting process we actually solve with our software Uptics. We actually help automate all that. So those are the four core ways, especially when I was running my lead gen company, an outbound prospecting company. Those are the main ways that we helped companies generate leads. So this is a method really of direct response sales and marketing. So it's not passive. Again, you're going out there, you are interrupting people's day and trying to get attention. But if you do it, in a fashion that, is strategic and you're not annoying people and you're being respectful and you're allowing them to opt out if necessary, as long as you're doing those things, you don't land and you're not landing in spam, there's no issue with that, because if your product or your service really solves a problem that you think you can help them with, then that's going to be a benefit to them. So those are the four ways, and these are the best ways if you're on a limited budget and don't have a lot of extra money to go out and hire a bunch of sales people or spend a bunch of money on paid advertising. These are probably your lowest cost solutions to actually implementing some sort of lead generation strategy. So this is what we found to work really the best for outbound prospecting. We also implemented a concept called video prospecting, which we took one-on-one videos for prospects, for our clients to their prospects, and introduced our client's company. They didn't know that we were the middleman, but then we sent those videos in an email or in maybe a LinkedIn message. So these are the best ways that we found work, because you can really scale them up. Couple things to keep in mind with these four: although you can scale them up, less is more a lot of times. So you don't want to go out and just start spamming a bunch of people and, landing in spam one in your email and, pissing a bunch of people off. You want to do this. Basically, you want to filter your leads down to a level of people that you are really highly targeted. And if you can find out more information about your prospect and use that to your advantage in your outreach, that's going to resonate more with your leads and your potential prospects than just, blasting the same message out to people over and over and over again. Maybe there's a strategy for that, but I wouldn't do it too much in bulk, because you're going to run into a lot of different challenges and you're probably not going to get the response rates that really you're looking for. So These 4 or 5 different areas, if you include video prospecting, are, again, what I've found to be really the cheapest way to do this, especially if you're doing it in-house, and ways you can really automate it and scale it up from there, so it doesn't take a lot of time on your part. And as I mentioned, in Uptics, we've made this really, really simple for you to do. So if you want to check it out, I've got a link in the description. If you want to check it out, you can get started free if you want. The next methods, of course, you can always go door knocking. So if you're a business, a local business that does most of your sales in person, obviously you can go door knock. And actually, when I started my first company, I've started 3 of them now. The way I started generating business was with door knocking. The first door knock and cold call in person that I ever made ended up being a client, and the client, they're a friend to this day. That was over 7 years ago. So it is very time consuming to do, but there's really no better way to build a relationship outside of getting a referral or networking than just going and meeting somebody in person. So if you are a local business, that's a strategy maybe you want to start with, especially if you don't know a lot of people in the industry. Next way, of course, and I sort of dog on these next 2. Sometimes, they are effective, definitely, but in terms of, automating your processes and scaling it up and stuff, networking and referrals are obviously 2 other ways that, you can really drive some new business, but they're not as scalable, especially, again, if you are like in person. If you have to go to a networking meeting, every month or every 2 weeks, it's not as time consuming, of course, as door knocking, but you're at the mercy of the people that are passing you business. So, I like to network personally with people individually than in a group, and build really deep relationships with a few people than really, thin, loose relationships with a lot of people. That's maybe just my personality, but I've found that if I can find, a group of really people that I can really trust and work well with, it's better for me to have trust in them and them to have trust in me to send business back and forth to one another. So those are the last 2 in terms of outbound prospecting. Again, probably not an all-encompassing list, but again, the top 4 there are ones that you can really automate. And really, Uptics was born out of my lead gen company that I had in the past, and automating that stuff. So those are going to be your cheapest, easiest to implement ways that you could do yourself without even having to hire, an outsourcing company or maybe even another sales rep. So the next ways to generate leads, of course, is going to be in marketing. So with marketing, I'm going to go over this really, I guess it's going to be really broad. So of course, there's advertising, and there's paid advertising, and there's unpaid advertising. So paid advertising are going to be, your normal platforms, probably Facebook, Google, there's a lot, Yelp, there's a lot of these different platforms. You can always go, do paid advertising through local associations and stuff like that. But in terms of being able to scale it up, Facebook, Google are obviously kind of your big ones, maybe Twitter, depending on what industry you're in. So these are obviously going to cost you a little bit more money, and it's a lot harder to deploy a reasonable strategy that are actually going to get you predictable incoming leads, inbound leads on a consistent basis. If you do figure it out, you can get leads, of course, on a consistent basis. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're not building the proper sales funnels online, and you're just sending traffic to just your website that isn't really meant to convert leads, you can blow a lot of money. And I've spent a lot of money on paid advertising in the past, and I've definitely wasted a lot of money on it. I've definitely learned a lot of lessons. But it is a way that, especially if you're selling to a broad market, nationwide or whatever it might be, or even regionally, that you can generate leads really consistently. And you just got to make sure you have the right process. And this video isn't meant to give you that process. We've got, some other training that can help you with that. But, that's kind of where I'm going to leave it with paid advertising. Unpaid advertising, of course, you want to have a website for sure. If you don't have a website and you're not listed on Google and Facebook, like, you need to go and do that. Quick little story. I was looking at, buying some land and building a new house. And so I'm contacting a bunch of people in different trades, industries that you need to help you build a house. So what did I do? I went out to Google and I started searching for, electricians, plumbers, roofers, that kind of thing. And when I was on Google, I looked for the people that had a website. And to me, that just kind of shows that maybe they're a little bit more business savvy than some others, and I can check them out without having to give them a phone call. And so if you don't have a website, you don't have a social profile, you gotta go do that stuff. So that's just kind of your starting point in terms of marketing. And without on the other side of marketing, so that's more so on your advertising side, you've got your content. So you've got things like blogging, newsletters, e-blasts, or maybe some videos. This is more of your kind of organic type content. A blogging strategy, of course, is meant to get people or get you to rank on with SEO through Google and stuff like that, to get people to come to your website, read your article, and then you insert some sort of call to action at the end of that article, to complete a form, fill out their contact information or something like that. These take a lot longer time. And there's really, if you're doing it yourself, it's pretty tough unless you have somebody dedicated to do it solely and focus just on that. And there's just so many elements that go into it. There's, keyword research, headlines, just a whole host of things you've got to do. And it's a lot harder to do. Not saying that you shouldn't do it, especially if you have the resources, and you've got the time horizon to do. Certainly with blogging, you're not going to get traffic overnight. It takes a while to build, credit and authority with Google. So you've got to do it right, and you have to do it consistently. Don't expect results, for 6 to 12 months, really. And so that's just one piece kind of to the puzzle. With any sort of newsletters, or if you are writing blogs, if you have a list of leads or contacts, there is a strategy where you could utilize, content or blogging to just send out to your existing list. And so it can serve two different purposes. It's not that you just have to use it for SEO. So there's a lot of validity in just staying in front of customers, former customers, prospects, all that kind of stuff, by sending them some really good kind of tips and tricks and things that, just to stay top of mind with them and keep your brand in front of them, so that next time they are thinking about using a solution or a product similar to yours, that they think of you first because you've stayed in front of them. So it does go a little bit further than just SEO and people searching terms on Google, but there's kind of two sides of the coin there. So that's it. Those are kind of really the high level things in terms of lead generation that you can do. And there's pros and cons to every single one of them. If you're looking to get business right now, I'd certainly focus on kind of the top of this list with outbound prospecting. That's going to be more, of course, your direct response type sales, where you're going to get a little bit more instant gratification. And then, if you do have the expertise, or able to hire somebody, or maybe even outsource, which I'll cover in a different video, you could get into advertising, and maybe you just start really small and you kind of build from there. But if you're looking to generate new business right now, and you're on a tight budget, and you need to maximize your time as much as possible by utilizing automation, I would certainly focus on these top 4, because you can implement them pretty easily and very reasonably priced, and you can set it up in a fashion where it doesn't take up a lot of your time. So those are the best ways to generate B2B leads for your business. I hope this video was helpful. And if you want to check out Uptics and our automation platform, if you enjoyed this video, then you can check out our free trial that we have. You can get started free. If you need help implementing any of this stuff into your business, you can book a support session. We have a ton of resources available for you with our university and a ton of our courses to help you implement sales automation and some campaigns into your business really, really easily. So hope this video was helpful. We'll see you in the next one.